What's up, y'all? We back. Oh, shit. We back. I'm Din Thomas. That's Ryan Quinn. But joining the show today, freshly snubbed. He still got anger in his heart. I see it. The great Mario Bautista spoiling the plans. Mario, man, what's going on with you?
Not much. Just here back at home, resting, recovering from this past weekend, and yeah, just feeling good.
Feeling good, man. Let's get right into it though, man. I mean, well, let's take it from the top. Let's take it from the top because you had a very unique assignment over the weekend. You was taking on a guy who everybody thought was going to be the next champ, be the next big thing, and everybody kind of overlooked you. And I want to know what the thought process was initially, like when they go, okay, you're going to fight Patchy Mix, and everybody's overlooking you. So tell me what that was like.
Yeah, I mean, so coming off like my past fight and everything, I am so used to like criticism and negative comments and this and that, uh, all while I'm just in the training room getting better. So I didn't really take it too hard, you know. I knew it was a tough assignment, definitely a bigger challenge than the Cheeto fight. So I really knew I had to mind my P's and Q's in there. So I think it just reignited me mid camp. Once I found out I was fighting Patchy, man, I just turned it up a notch. Because I know how good Patchy is. I wasn't. It's not like I haven't seen him before. So I trained hard for this one, and didn't let any of the hype get to me or anything, and then went in there cool, calm, collected, and focused, and got that job done.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not really, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. So my first honesty is, I'm not surprised that you won. I'm really not. But I'm gonna be honest. Still, I didn't pick you to win. But I'm not surprised. But I'm not surprised that you won because I said it's gonna be a tough fight for Patchy because I knew how tough you are in the camp you come from. You guys have, in my opinion, the best bantamweights in the country collectively. And
Yeah.
and I know what y'all go through. Um, so talk me through the fight. Was it anything like you expected?
Yes and no. I knew I was going to have the advantage standing up. I knew I was going to have way better footwork. I was going to be faster. I was going to be in and out, this and that. Um, One thing did surprise me though is like he just didn't really get desperate with the shots. The first round maybe you just don't have the timing, and then the later the fight goes on, like you're not getting any takedowns. You're not getting to where you're good at. At least kind of get desperate with some things. If you have to shoot like a dirty shot or something. But none of that ever came. It came one time in the third round, and I was able to stuff it easily. So, but yeah, that was the only thing. I thought he was going to shoot a lot more and try to grab me.
So first, congratulations again. Big win. Now, you said that you turned it up a notch when you found out that it was going to be Patchy now. So what was it like roughly just under a month before? And I could see that like you're training for one opponent, and not that a fighter gets flat in training camp, but then when something like that comes with someone with a buzz behind him, especially someone with a buzz that it's a much more even fight than the public gives you credit. Do you think that's what it was? Just like, oh man, there's some juice to this story now. Was it something like that just ignited it?
Yeah, yeah, because I knew personally, I think Patchy's a better fighter than Cheeto.
Mhm.
So I just had to turn it up just an extra notch, and then change up the game plan a little bit, from offensive wrestling to more defense wrestling. So those were the changes that we made, and yeah, I just picked it up. I knew how big this fight was, and I knew it was going to have a lot of hype behind it. Just with these signings from these other promotions, they have a lot of hype behind them and everything. And
Yeah.
Patchy's successful. He was successful outside the UFC. 20-1. That's a great record. I think he had 16 submissions, something like that. He's a finisher, so I was definitely had to mind my p's and q's in there and really be focused leading up to this fight.
Well, you were crisp and you were sharp. There's no question, but it's not like that's anything new. So I got to be honest. When you first hit that first straight punch early on in the first, and it just stunned him, it reminded me of when Amanda hit Ronda Rousey, and I was like, oh, dude, this is going to be a long night. In the first 10 seconds, she landed a stiff jab. When you hit that first one, and then it just kind of stunned him, and you were just so precise. Did you have the same feeling? You're like, this is it. I'm making my money right here all night. Just I don't got to change nothing, because that's kind of how it felt watching it from my couch.
Yeah, no, I felt pretty good about that. Like I felt like I got the timing and the distance right off the bat, within the
Yeah.
first like minute or so. And so I knew, okay, this is my range. This is where I need to be at. I can do this all 3 rounds, and that's what happened. I just had to be focused, all 3 rounds, maintain that distance and not get too
Mhm.
crazy to where he was going to shoot or grab me or me make a mistake and patches on your back or on your neck or something like that. And you definitely don't want that. So I was pretty happy I found that range right away.
Yeah, I think you got to be really proud of yourself, like to overcome those obstacles. Truly, like it's just more than just two guys showing up to fight. I mean, you really had a lot on your plate to deal with in terms of shutting this guy down, and then you went out there and you did it with style, and then at no point did it ever look like you were panicked. And some guys do that, like they get a little lead, and then the other guy, like Patchy's, try to come on in the end, and you was like, nope, nope. Like what was going through your mind, like in the end when Patchy was trying to come on, and you was just still sticking him?
I felt great. I felt great. My movement didn't slow down. Like I was in great shape. I was still moving. I knew he had to get desperate in that third round. That third round, it was a long round because I knew I was up 2. So I just knew I knew he was gonna either try to do something desperate or just come forward and I mean that's what I would do. I would try to do something kind of crazy to get a finish. Um, but I felt good. I already had the distance. I had the range, and I just had to stay focused for 5 minutes. And man, it was pretty easy due to my training camp.
Yeah, that can't be overstated. How you said, like, and you're saying easy, but it's only easy because you made it easy. Because the reality is, staying focused like that is not that easy under those circumstances. I mean, Trump's in the crowd. It's a big fight. You're not supposed to win, and you sticking this dude, and you keeping the pressure on him. But the elephant in the room is the fact that you did not get a post-fight talk. Have they talked to you about that? Have they given you any indication of why that didn't happen?
Nope, not a single thing. Maybe I was thinking like we'd go in the back and they'd say something like, "Hey, we apologize. It's because of this time delay or this and that or whatever it is, or it could have been anything. It could have been like, "Hey, man, we just don't like you. We just don't want you on the mic." Whatever. You could have told me whatever, and I would have been happy with it as long as you would have told me something. But I haven't heard anything. So yeah, it's a little weird, and a lot of guys are media guys are bringing that to the audience attention. That hey, this
Yeah.
guy didn't get an interview. That it's weird. I didn't have like a bad performance or anything. If Patchy would have won, he would have been on that mic. They would have loved it, and he would have cut a promo to fight Merab and whatnot. So yeah, I still haven't gotten any answers for that.
Yeah, well, I think they're bringing attention to it because it was extremely noticeable. I mean, I when it happened, I was like, something's off here. I checked my phone to make sure I was watching the main card. I just wasn't sure what the fuck was going on. Now, yeah, I thought that was off. Well, I'll just leave it at that. I thought that you should have been spoken to, especially change of opponent, welcoming in former world champion, big win. So they didn't talk on that. So that half answers my next question. Did they say anything next for you, or pat on the back, anything, or?
No, I know my manager talks to Sean Shelby and those guys, I think like on a
Mhm.
Tuesday. So maybe he might have something for me tomorrow. But yeah, I still haven't heard anything, what's next or what's gonna go on. And but we'll see in these next few weeks what they say.
Gotcha. So, yeah, no major injuries, as you said, but you have some annoying little marks up there, and like those are the really obnoxious ones. The lip. So tell us what's going on there, and the
Yeah,
neck.
yeah, this got split, so I can't really eat any like salty good foods because that
Uh,
burns.
Damn.
Yeah,
all I
so
want is hot wings after my fights.
that kind of ruined my plans for after the fight, eating some good food and whatnot. This one it was from a head kick, but his toes went right in my eye.
I think we
And
saw it.
Yeah.
yeah, he kicked me. He's like pointing, he's like, "Oh, my bad, whatever." And I'm like, "It's all good." I'm like, "It's a fight. It's all good. It's a fight."
Mhm.
So yeah, well, that was fun. But that was pretty much it. And then yeah, just this gnarly little scratch that he gave me here. So fight, yeah, that was pretty much it.
So Mario, I kind of want to know this because I always tell my fighters when I'm working with some, and I don't really work with a lot of people, but when I do, I'm like, hey, listen, when you win, you got to know what you want to say after, because you have to position yourself in a place where people want to see you again, and to sell yourself. Like, that's the idea of getting that microphone after a win. Did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to get into that top five. Whoever
Mhm.
was going to be in that top five, a win over any top five opponent gets me into title contention. So that was my plan. Um, I think during the week I kind of figured like Sandhagen was going to fight. Probably be next for the title. I would have loved to fight Sandhagen, get that one back because I lost my debut to him, and I've chased him all the way down.
Mm.
From that debut loss all the way to the very top. So I think that would have been a great story. Um, but at this point, yeah, anyone in the top five, I like that Umar fight. That gets me to the very top if you get
I
a win
like
over
that too.
him. Figgy's hurt, so it doesn't really leave me with much options. Peter Yan's probably fighting Marcus McGee. Um,
Oh, I
so yeah,
love that fight, by the way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it too. I don't know why
Yeah.
people are hating on that. Man, don't count Marcus out. Marcus
No.
is, man, crazy good, crazy
Yeah.
good. So I'm excited for that as a fan, and man, I'm just excited for Marcus.
So Mario, I want you to be very specific and clear about this. I mean, you just named a gang of guys, but in order to get what you want, you got to ask for it. Of all those guys, who do you want?
I would like the Umar one. I think that one
Okay.
gives me shoots me to the top the quickest. I don't really, I was gonna fight Cheeto. He was coming off two losses. I
Yeah.
want to. I guess Umar's coming off a loss too. But there's
Yeah,
a lot
but
of hype.
he still got that magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, there's still a lot of hype around them, and it's kind of hard. A lot of guys are coming off losses or like one fight win streak, and I'm over here on an 8 fight win streak. So, uh,
Damn.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that I'm sitting at number 10, and the only other guy with an active win streak that's higher than mine is the champion, which is Merab. And yeah, so it's crazy to me, but yeah, I like that Umar fight.
Well, you gotta talk that shit, and I don't mean being. You don't have to be Connor, but you just gotta ask for what you want, and that's why I want to give you this opportunity right now to be able to ask for what you want, because I feel more than anything they robbed you of that opportunity at the fight in front of the crowd, in front of all the people, and that sucks for you. So, please, that's why I wanted to give you the opportunity now, because you have to ask for what you want if you want to get that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I like that Umar fight. If he wants to do it at the end of the year, I know he's been having a little layoff or whatever. If he wants to do it at the end of the year, we could definitely do that. The thing is, sometimes when you make these call outs, I feel like I've done it before, and these things never come. So yeah, we'll see if it works this time.
Awesome. All right. So once that lip heals, what's the meal you're gonna have? What was the one you were looking at? So you didn't get the post-fight interview and the post-fight meal. It's just like the worst win ever.
Oh
Fuck that, he
yeah, it
beat
was like
Patchy Mix. Shit, that's the best fucking ever.
yeah, yeah. I didn't get to eat any of these good meals. So yeah, once this lip heals up, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe my hunger and like appetite will be gone by then, but definitely wanted some good In-N-Out burgers. I brought
Oh
this up
yeah.
to a lady in New Jersey. She was like, "What are you gonna have after your fight?" Some In-N-Out burger, and she was looking at me like clueless, like,
They have no idea. They have no
uh,
idea on the East
I
Coast.
for, I forgot that it's not
Yeah.
even over there, so they're
No,
missing out.
they are. And the East Coast, so like the further west you go, you get better. You get In-N-Out and the Jack in the Box out there. There's no Jack in the Box over here. I don't know, Dean, what do we have over here? Like, we don't have the White Castle. The White Castle's kind of out there too. Like,
White
not even
Castle,
down in Florida. We don't have White Castle in Florida.
Checkers, I don't know. We don't
Checkers,
got
yeah, but
nothing
Checkers
unique.
is
We don't got nothing unique.
yeah.
Hey, I just want a good gourmet burger. I think that's what I want. Something good like that. And some good salty like garlic fries or
Hell
whatever.
yeah! Now we talking.
Yeah.
So
I just
we'll
had
see.
salmon and edamame for dinner, and you're making me regret it now. I want to eat some
Oh
of that.
damn, yeah, that's what I've been eating. Just plain food like that.
So how do you celebrate, Mario? How do you? Well, you can't eat. What did you do to celebrate to really, treat yourself, man? Because like I can't. Ryan, I'm telling you, what he did, man, was was dope. It was some dope shit that he did over the weekend. So
Yeah.
I know you can't eat, your lip is busted, but how do you celebrate?
Yeah, I came back here. Honestly, I'm feeling like a little sick from that trip. That coming back, I
Mhm.
didn't sleep at all after the fight. You get on a flight, you sleep an hour here, an hour there, and so I'm just starting to feel it a little bit. You get a little bit older, these trips, start to take a toll on you.
Yeah.
But just be with my family. It was a really extended camp. I was supposed to fight Cheeto, what, May 3rd. So I started my camp, 6, 7 weeks prior to that. It got postponed, so we couldn't do anything, with the family. So it was a long, what, like 14-week kind of camp. So just hang out with the fam. We have plans to go camping, go visit some family back in Nevada. Um, those are the things I kind of like to do to celebrate. Just hang out with fam because it's a lot of sacrifice. During the camp, I just train, come home, eat. I can't really do anything. Can't hang out with friends. I kind of don't let my daughter, spend time with her friends too much because these kids are always sick, and they bring back stuff, and I'm getting sick
Mhm.
mid camp. So those are like the little things. So now I just want to spend some time with the fam and make up for all that.
Sounds like a great plan.
Well, Mario, we appreciate your time, homie. I mean, I think you're a complete dog, and you got to be proud of yourself for the weekend that you had. And I want to apologize on the behalf of the UFC for not giving you that interview, because I know the media is making a big deal out of it only because they just love to make a big deal out of all this other bullshit. Like, they just love to find stories to make a big deal out of. But for
Right.
me, I just feel like you needed an opportunity to call somebody out and sell yourself. And that's unfortunate that you didn't get to do that, because you needed that opportunity. That's prime mic time for you to be like, yo, Umar, let's run it, dog. And you didn't get the opportunity to do that. So I'm hoping this gets out there, that this catches on, that you can get that fight, because that's the one you need, and you needed that opportunity. So on behalf of the UFC, I want to apologize for not
Well,
giving you an interview.
actually, Mario, I heard it was Dean's idea to cut the mic on you. So
I
you
was on the
come
phone. I was
here.
like, yo,
Yeah.
cut the mic.
So you come on here and give the news of your proposed fight.
Yeah.
So well played, Dean. I mean, it's kind of messed up, but whatever.
Well, heal up fast, homie. Heal up
Yeah,
fast.
heal up fast.
And,
We're looking forward to your next one.
yeah, I'm talking
Thanks.
to your coach tomorrow,
Yeah.
John. I'm gonna talk to him. So if he talks some shit, I'm gonna let you know. Yeah, if you talk some shit, I'm gonna let you know.
No, we'll see. Yeah, he told me he was talking to you. He's excited to talk to you. He
Yeah.
loves you. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. And I appreciate the kind words, man. Yeah, I wish I would have got that interview, but I appreciate it, man. That's unfortunate, but next time, I'll take that mic. I'll yell it if I have to.
Yeah,
So
no
we'll see.
doubt.
All right,
Well,
thanks for
heal
coming
up,
on, man.
man. Heal up, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right, have a good one, man. Peace.
Man, I'm glad that you brought that up. Well, obviously we're going to bring it up, but I'm glad that you gave him the platform to relive that, because that was important for his career.
No doubt. That's these media guys. I fucking hate being media. I don't really consider myself media.
Analyst.
I'm an analyst that just has a platform with the media people. Like, I don't like media because whenever somebody says something, they're always looking for these clever, clickbait taglines. And I
You've been on the other side of the clickbait before.
Yeah, well, I've been on the other side of the clickbait before, but I understand why fighters don't want to talk to us, because they always feel like they're being set up. And I understand that. They're like, oh, man, I don't really want to do these interviews because y'all just going to set me up to talk some shit, and then I'm going to catch fire. You know what I'm saying? So I get all that, and I don't really like being a part of that. I did an interview with Jared Gordon. He dropped some shit, man. And I was like, yo, and I called my producer after the show. I said, don't you dare headline this with the shit he said. I said, don't you dare. And I called Jared. I said, Jared, they're probably going to run those words, but I want to make sure that the headline is good for you, because you said it, you did say it. And I think you were trying to get a message out, and I want you to get the message out, but I'm not going to hit you with no clickbait shit. And I don't want to ever hit a fighter with some clickbait shit that makes them look bad, that we have to investigate this very shady. You know what I'm saying? It's like shady shit. And I don't ever want to do that to a fighter.
Dude, like I said, like you've been on both sides of the clickbait. Me too. And like, even, you know, I'm writing for Cage Side Press, which I love doing. I'm having such a great time doing it. But like, I hate sending that text, even sometimes on here, like, hey, like, can I get an interview? Like when they're trying to train or something like that. It's like, I want to give them their space, you know, like, because everyone's coming, and, you know, the reason why I have their number in my phone, I have that respect, is because I was a teammate and I understand what they're going through. And I don't ever want to violate that, you know, with some fighters. And, it's really, yeah, like, I don't think media gets it. I mean, I understand what their career is. Timing is important. It's hard to establish that. There was another thing I had to say about that. I can't think of it, but what were you going to say?
Nah, just that fighters need their outlets to be able to talk their shit.
Yeah.
And media is good for that. Media is good for that. And it's not good for, it's great for that. It's great for that. And I guess the drawback is, you know, media is trying to get paid too. So they're finessing any word to try to twist it in a way where it sounds like one thing, but it's not really that. And in order for you to understand it's not really that, you got to watch the whole thing. And it's a bit manipulative to me, and I don't really like it, and I don't really like doing it. So at the expense of me maintaining my I want to maintain my relationship with fighters, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to throw them under the bus for views. I'm never going to do that.
Right. Yeah. I don't, I'm enjoying like writing pieces on like gym stories or like training, like meeting people. And I mean, we got some critical ones, some negative ones that I'm sure people would love to read about. And I just don't care to talk about those.
But I mean, but there's a fine line though too, Ryan. Like, you can tell the truth. Like, you're supposed to tell the truth, and if some shit is whack, you got to say it's whack. If it's good, you got to say it's good. But if it's whack, you got to say it's whack. But when you finesse the titles and stuff like that, that's what I'm really talking about.
Yeah.
When you're trying to finesse to, you know, Mario Bautista, banned at the UFC. It's like,
I was just gonna say,
banned at the UFC.
I was just gonna say, what can we do with that title?
Yeah, like how can we finesse this? Like, how can we go back, listen to it, and chop it up to make it seem like that he was?
Should we make the thumbnail smoke coming out of his ears?
Yeah, Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista said this about the UFC, and he's like got this face on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna do that to my man. Like, my man was like, yo, he just wanted answers. That's all he wanted.
For real.
So the rest of the card was there's a lot of good standout things on the rest of the card. That Jang Ju Sung Yu, we found him on Looking for a Fight. He knocked out Jera Sarigi. I'm fucking these names up. I know I am.
I didn't watch that one.
You didn't watch that one?
Yankees Red Sox were finishing up at that time.
Dude, go back and watch that.
I gotta watch it. I saw some stuff on X about it. I gotta go back.
It is as close to as perfect of a well thrown and executed left hook when a guy's charging you as you can get. And it was so beautiful to watch. I almost feel like, and it also has to do with the way dude fell too. Alan Joban was talking about that. Like, the way they fall also has a lot to do with it. And the way he fell. So you got to give him some credit for being knocked out on the way down and falling in slow motion.
In pro wrestling, a good sell, as they call
it. It was beautiful. I think MVP, if not Merab, it's hard to say. MVP, if not Merab, would go to Joshua Van, I thought. And that's not a snub on Kayla. I just think that Kayla was so much better than Julianna, even prior. I mean, she was a 6-1 favorite, so that was supposed to happen. But Joshua Van, if you haven't seen that fight, go back and watch that fight.
Okay. That was another one that I saw on, maybe, I don't know, I did see that fight. I had it on I had the game on the TV. I had it on the laptop. But I got to go back and watch it thoroughly.
Just complete savage stuff. But As for Merab, man, what'd you think?
I thought that it was I thought that it was going to go that way. I don't think that he finishes Sean every time. I think that Sean, he got a little panicky with the takedown escapes and he exposed himself a little bit. I mean, I heard someone say now he's finishing people. Like, I think he always had that ability, just the way he fights and the people he's fighting. It's hard to really put himself in that situation. Came as expected, free as a bird, mixing it up with the boxing and the takedowns. Actually, his striking looked better, I felt, than previously, but he was kind of forced to strike a little bit more. We have to give O'Malley some credit. His takedown defense did look a little bit better. It was almost like he made Merab choose to take him down with single legs and was able to work his way out and stuff like that. So back to credit to Merab for adjusting and throwing a few more strikes to get his takedowns and get him and to bring his head below his ass in those positions.
Yeah, I thought O'Malley looked fairly good until he didn't. I thought he looked good, man. I was like, okay, prior to the fight, when he walked into the octagon and he's moving around, I'm like, yo, he looks strong, and like his body looked harder. He looked in really good shape. He looked really prepared. He looked like he wanted to win. You could see that he did everything he could in order to win, but just sometimes it's not enough, man. Sometimes you're just not good enough. That's the reality of life.
Yeah,
it's the reality of life. Sometimes you're just not good enough. Like, you can be the best, you can feel like you deserve it. You can work so hard and everybody like, you deserve to win. And sometimes you're just not good enough. And I think that's the situation here. I just don't think he has it in him to beat Merab.
You know, I'm glad you said that. Sometimes it's just you're just not good enough, and that's the case. You know, like we've all put a lot of work into something, and it's not even. I was even thinking, my first YouTube channel, I was working my ass off at it for like 18 months. That was all. Like, that was the only media I was doing, and I don't know. Somewhere 2/3 of the way through, I remember, you know what? I was like, I need to fail at this. And I know that sounds weird because it's not like I was quitting. I was still working my ass off, putting out 3-4 videos a week and, getting guests and everything. But I'm like, I want to just learn this. And I think that this is going to be my dress rehearsal, my rough draft. And it was, it did lead to other things. I learned how to speak on the microphone. I learned how to break down fights a little bit better. Got my name out there a little bit in the media, and I had a lot of fun with it too. So it's not a clear-cut waste. Now, the other thing that we've talked about before, you and I both hate you either win or you learn. I still hate that. But if you don't learn something in a situation like what O'Malley was in, then you're definitely a born loser, because he figured out how to adjust a little bit. He's got to parlay that into something else, into his next opponent. He can't just, I wasn't good enough to beat Merab, so I'm not going to worry about these single leg defenses anymore because it couldn't beat Merab. Like, he's got to be able to take that into his next fight. I hope he does. I think he will. He's a world-class fighter. That's what I think. That's how you get with that. I think that Merab beats him 9 times out of 10. I really do. But
sure,
he could beat a lot of other people in that division.
He beats him 9 times out of 10 in a vacuum, right? Like, if you were to have them fight 10 times and was able to erase the last time, Merab still beats him 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Now, but fighting doesn't work that way. If they fought 10 times, like, he would remember what happened the last time and the last time and the last time, and he beat him 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just what I saw in Sean O'Malley's face, was that he realized he can't win that fight. And even in his post-fight interview, he said, Merab is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that is that's the words that you utter when you realize you can't beat somebody. Like, yo, he's a motherfucker, man. He got me.
Yeah, he's got my number.
He's got my number. I think. And if O'Malley is honest with himself, he'll learn from this. He'll take that and just go, I'm no longer champ material, but I'm still a star and I can still beat people up. So how do I parlay this into fighting the next guy and just creating a lane for myself? I won't be champ, but I can still create a lane for myself and still be a big draw. And I think that's where he's going to make his money.
he could be like a better Kevin Holland. Who else looked really good the other night?
Yeah, he looked pretty good, right? Well, I kind of expected that. Like people were like, who you think? I was like, Kevin is gonna beat the shit out of Luke.
Dude, I don't know. I was like, Luke is he was a big dog on the line. I was like, that might be where you put your money because he's such a big dog. He's pretty tough, but Kevin's gonna beat up anybody that's in that curtain jerk range. Like he's like the gatekeeper to the being ranked in the top 15. Like that's what it seems like because he beats the crap out of everyone below that. But then when it comes, it's like hammer and a nail, you know.
And you gotta be careful about it too because the way he's doing it, it makes him look like he's top 5.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when he goes up and fights guys that are top 5, we see the difference. Like because he's such an offensive dynamo that it makes it look like he's got this complete, well-rounded, sophisticated, dedicated game. And he doesn't really. He's got a very explosive offense that if you let him get going, he's going to make you look stupid. But, you know, if you can shut him down and you take him into an area where he's not comfortable, you can beat him.
Yeah, which has been done.
Yeah, which is, I mean, numerous times from a lot of guys. And people are going, oh, well, it's at a higher weight class. Yeah, for sure. I think that because it's a higher weight class, lesser guys can do that to him. But at the higher level, when you go up in level with welterweights, they're going to do it to him as well.
Right. Yeah. Because the margin for error is just a lot smaller.
Yeah. They're going
to with flashy fighters, they rely on that margin for error to look.
Yeah, right, for sure.
So that's
they're not like a guy like Brady, like they're not going to give him.
Yeah, the window's not there.
Yeah, they're not going to give him. They're going to get a hold of him and make him rethink.
Yeah,
fighting at a high level.
So, all right, we spoke about Merab, spoke about O'Malley, spoke about Kevin, Kayla, and Julianna. It went as advertised, for lack of a better word. Well, why don't you start off? Talk about your conversation with her on Unfiltered. I got to give you some shit about that. Jim Norton asked, do you have anything to promote? And I was waiting for you to say FightCourt.
Oh, well.
Like everybody else.
I normally do, man. I normally do.
You said it on Rogan. Thank you.
But I think because I forgot why I didn't do it, but I normally do. We talk about FightCourt all the time on there. So I don't know why I forgot to promote.
Everyone's forgetting about FightCourt. Amanda came on us first and said that she's coming out of retirement to fight the winner. She left ATT because of Kayla, and fucking ESPN and New York Post trying to take credit for it.
Oh man,
I was such a bitter little girl on. No, she said on our podcast first on all the Instagram posts. All this stuff.
That's the fucking game. Listen, it's just a matter of time before we get there first.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We got some clicks happening.
Yeah, so yeah, you know, Kayla's hard not to like.
Yeah,
she's a really good human being. More than anything else, she's a really good human being. I think she would be like if she was your friend. I think she'd be a really good friend to you. I think that she's caring and compassionate and a really good role model. She's a lot. If there is a checklist of like qualities that you'd want in a human being, she'd check off like a bunch, like all of them. Like she's hardworking, dedicated, probably really loyal, just all those different things. And then that's just as a human being. As a competitor, the same thing. Like checks off all the boxes of something that you want in a competitor and a fighter. So it's hard to hate on her, but you know, I got a job to do.
Oh no, yeah.
I love solving puzzles, and I would want nothing more in my life than to be on the other side of that and to win.
Yeah. And you know, I liked how you said it right away. I'm coming to beat you. You know, you didn't say it like that, but there's that clickbait that we're talking about.
Yeah.
but either way, and like it was good. And like that just shows like this is professional competition. This is what we do. And she's aware of that. You're aware of that. It's great. I know real quick to what you said, checking off the boxes. When I noticed that Kayla was different, like, and you've seen this, you know, all these big name fighters go into ATT and they just use lesser training partner as bodies and move on. They don't train outside of what they're comfortable with, blah, blah, blah. Kayla wasn't really like that. I remember she wanted to spar with my amateurs, I remember, and I was getting ready to like send people to pro sparring, but she actually came to my class and she's like, I want to train with them. I'm going to go with them. This is what, and I really respected that. A couple times they went over to her. A couple times they went over the pro sparring with her. And she was very grateful. And I remember one of our fighters lost that she was training with, and then she found out that he was out wrestled, and she gave him so much shit. Why didn't you call me? You knew you should have called me. We could have trained for this. I'm so pissed. Like she really wanted to be there for him as a teammate. It wasn't just the body. And like, I remember that lifted his spirits. And then I remember circle back like a couple years. It was Woods. I told you he's fighting for a belt.
Oh,
and,
yeah, Woods.
yeah. And I ran into her. I'm like, hey, Woods is fighting for a belt. She immediately wanted to know where it was and where she can go watch. Like she wanted to support him. I always, she's a very genuine human being. She's a very genuine human being.
Yeah. How do I say this without like being like too hard on Julianna? She's a very opportunistic fighter.
Yeah.
She will take advantage of a fight, and because she's so durable and determined to win fights, it's hard to discourage her from fighting. So she's always in the fight until she can beat you. But when it comes down to just skill for skill, like she's just not at that level.
Right.
And that was apparent pretty early on in the fight against Kayla. Pretty early. Like she's like Kayla's walking her down and jabbing her up and kicking her. And you're thinking, like, Julianna's got to have some answer for this. She's got to have something better than this. And she did have it, she did, I would say, maybe pretty good against defense. Like you could tell she trained against defense.
Right.
But she still got taken down. So, and then when she got taken down, just no answer. Just no answers.
I felt that I thought that, her game plan coincided a lot more with what you thought was going to happen than what I thought was going to happen when we discussed it. That's for sure. What do I mean by that? I thought that she was going to annoy and win round one and then slowly get steamrolled. It seemed that the game plan was more in line with what you were thinking, where she kind of pumped the brakes to kind of try to take Kayla, chew up the clock and get into the later rounds. But she didn't give Kayla anything really to worry about. You know what I mean? Like nothing for Kayla to make mistakes with. She wasn't really jabbing that much. Like you said, she was kind of staying out and just kind of picking and choosing when to do stuff. And you're not going to make someone tired like that, Well,
that was the biggest problem. And that's a skill deficiency. That's a skill set deficiency. Because if you have it, you use it to do it. If you don't have it, then you can't do it. And if she had better striking on the feet, was a little more dynamic, a better jab, some better kicks, anything, right? Anything. You use that to make Kayla fight you. Yeah. But when you allow Kayla to walk you down and dictate, and you're just kind of countering, waiting for the shot, that's not the way you're not going to get her tired that way. You're not going to make her panic that way. You're not even going to get a lucky punch off. Nope. You're going to be, it's almost like having a foot race and allowing the other person to say go every time. You're always at a disadvantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the fact that she wasn't able to put pressure on Kayla, not even to win, like not even to like finish her early, but just to make her fight. Like you got to make her fight. But in order to do that, you have to be good enough to do it. Like if you're good enough to put pressure on Kayla, you have to do that to win the fight. Because if you don't, you're going to let her rest, and she's going to rest, and she's going to fight in her spots, and she's going to be able to manage her energy better that way. And then she can last five. But like, if not, she's going to fight in her spots and beat you up whenever she is ready to. Yeah. And that's what happened. And that was what happened.
Yeah. I didn't see any feints. So when I don't see any feints, it usually leads to what you're saying about skill set deficiency. And like that's something that everyone needs, whether for offensive or defensive purposes, or something to slow the fight down. And I didn't even see any of that.
Well, here's the hard part about this is like, because we say shit like this, fighters hear this type of stuff and they're like, oh man, you're being mean, you're being really hard. It's like, no, like you lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you lost, like there's a reason. There's when we break down why you lost, this is why you lost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not me making something up to be mean. This is the reason why it happened.
Right.
I'm never just offering information to be mean.
Yeah.
This is what happened. You lost, and I'm analyzing how you lost and why you lost, and this is how and why. That's
You
the
wrote the
reality.
story. We're just reading the review.
Yeah, you wrote the story. I'm just reading it. So yeah. And they take this type of stuff personally, and they're gonna get mad at me and shit half the time. But don't be mad at me. Be mad at you.
Man, I remember one time I read when I went back with Bellator, someone wrote about me. The keyword to Quinn's career is inconsistent, and I was so pissed. But I'm looking at I'm all insecure, looking at my Topology. And I'm like, fuck.
It's like red, green, red, green,
yeah,
red,
yeah.
green.
Like,
Like, oh shit, he's right.
That dude was right.
That's it, right? Like that's
yeah.
How can you get mad? It's like,
prick.
oh man, how are you gonna say I'm inconsistent? The problem is they expect us to know everything. Like when a fight, like here's a situation like Izzy, for instance, Izzy will throw up a dud against, let's say, his fight against Sean Strickland. He'll throw a complete dud. We say that. He'll get mad at us. And then a month later, he'll be like, I was injured. Well, then now you're admitting to throwing up a dud.
Yeah.
Now why did you get mad at me in the first place? You know what I'm saying? So you're admitting to why you threw up a dud.
Yeah. Yeah. As tough as fighters are, they're only tough in the cage sometimes, you know? Like outside, it's like, forget it.
Well, no, I get it though. I mean, I understand them being extremely passionate about their career, and you know, it's very close to them. Like their identity is attached to their performances and their success as a fighter, and I understand that. I really do. But at the same time, truth is truth, and you can't run from that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't run from the truth. And when somebody says something that's true about you, you can either accept it, learn from it, and move on, or you can be mad at it and continue to make those mistakes for the rest of your career.
When I'm at work, you know, I'm in a corporate setting, I try to live by this. When someone says something I don't like, instead of saying, how could they say that? I say, why could they say that? Like, what did I do to prompt them to say that?
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. Facts.
And sometimes they're just wrong. You know, sometimes people are just wrong with what they say. And then I find, but after I go through that evaluation, I don't really care because clearly they don't know what they're talking about. But sometimes there's some truth to it. And then I got to work on something, you know, like that's how I see it anyway.
No, that's a really good point. And I think we should all kind of approach our situation like that when we hear something about ourselves to be like, why would you think that? What did I do to make you think that? And then and maybe I can fix it, or maybe you're just completely full of shit making something up.
Yeah. And then usually when that happens, it's addressed they get that dealt with them somewhere else. Or usually like nobody else believes it anyway, because they're just so full of shit. But
well, anyway. I think in our case, especially for me, when I talk about fighters, it's very easy to say why I said something about somebody. If I'm saying something negative, they lost. You know what I'm saying? Like it's already there. Like I shouldn't have to explain it. Like losing, you lost.
You are slow.
Yeah.
Your hands are low.
Yeah.
You struck wind.
You got knocked. You stuck your chin out. And you got knocked out.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let's go back and watch that fight. And if you look at full speed by the end of the third round, I'll take it back. Let's watch it together. That's what you should do. When you get criticized with somebody, you need to go watch the fight with them. Sit side by side like an ESPN, like they did with Tom Brady and Charles Woodson in the Tuck game. Like about we're gonna watch this and we'll critique it together and we'll see who's right. That would be a good series.
I think that is the way to go. And and if I'm being entrepreneurial, we'll film that.
I'll let you can use me as your first one to see. Like I'm sure there's a fight I could find that I'm insecure about. Actually, I already know of a couple.
And we'll watch it and we'll go see. We got work to do. Anything else, Ryan? What else is going on in the world today?
Yeah, you know, I'm happy we had Mario Bautista on because you know, we've been talking a lot lately about the welterweight division, how the lightweight division is always there. The bantamweight division is always fun. The featherweight. So why am I bringing that up as a whole? Because people are saying this crap about there's no stars in the UFC and all this crap. There is so much up for grabs in these divisions now. There is so much potential and star power. Who's going to break out? And when it's a level playing field like that, you're going to see a ton of really good fights. And I hope that people take that into consideration when they're watching fights these days.
I love that. It's easy to say that there's no stars, and the more I think about it, the more I realize that I don't know if there's a lot of stars in any industry that we live in today because of the way the world is structured now. You know, 20 years ago, let's go back even further. 30 years ago, Michael Jackson was a star.
Yeah.
20 years ago, Madonna was a star.
Oh, Madonna. I think that was probably 25.
Is that still 30?
Yeah, no, yeah, it all blurs. Trust me.
It all blurs I'm almost 50, so everything is starting to blur together now.
It was like I'm working with these kids and they're 25 plus that were born in the 90s. I was like, oh God, what the fuck?
Yeah, 15 years ago, Usher was a star.
I think Drake.
Can I
Usher
even go
was probably
20
20
years ago?
Yeah, Drake was about 15 years ago. Usher was 20.
Okay. Damn, I'm old. Oh
yeah,
my God.
Bro.
But today it seems like it's so hard to be a star because there's just so many distractions and so much going on that I'm hearing about dudes that like, oh, this guy's got 1 million followers. And I'm like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
This guy's got 5 million followers. I'm like, he's a star? Who is that? And I just think that it's just so hard to really be a legit star and stand out that the UFC is up against it, and it's very difficult. And sometimes when I say there's no stars, it may not be true. Maybe we just don't recognize it.
Maybe we don't because, you and I were kind of purists. We really enjoy the fight, and we talk to these people. So
yeah,
but to your point, 1 million followers. I may think this guy's a star because he's got 1 million followers on Instagram. You may think this guy's a star because he's got 1 million followers on TikTok. So there's all these other areas to get your stars from when they're still really onto the same banner. And that's really what it is, I think. It's just there's so many different, and everything's an algorithm now.
Everything's an algorithm.
Like, I'm going to see more of this guy that I want because I Googled him or whatever.
And like Justin Gaethje, is Justin Gaethje a star?
Man.
Like we think like when he's at the UFC, he seems like it.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time believing that if he was at Applebee's right now, that people would mob him the way they would have mobbed Usher 20 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't
equate, right? That's my point. Is that there's very few people. Taylor Swift, there's very few people today that would just get completely mobbed that are stars like that.
Yeah.
Like, and that goes for any industry. Like, I'm not even sure a guy like Bradley Cooper would, I mean, maybe in Philly, but just like he could probably still go certain places with a hat on and people are like, oh shit, there go Bradley Cooper. But it wouldn't be like, ah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. When The Rock came to the gym, like he was a star. That was 11 years ago. Like I've never
The Rock is a star.
But that's like, there's never anybody in MMA going to be like The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock is a star. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, so elite athlete, I guess, is what you would call like a Justin Gaethje. But yeah, there really isn't a whole lot of stars. But I mean, that goes to our point. I hope people just start enjoying the game, start relaxing, enjoy the show. Media, man.
Enjoy the show.
Yeah.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed this show because I put my heart and soul into it. Goddamn it,
too. Emma Wallet.
And if you did enjoy it, make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. And on that note, this court is adjourned.